There's a huge shift in the world right now, and many people are living in fear. It's time for that to change. Hi, I'm Tara. I'm your host and guide, and I invite you to take this journey with me as we discover new ways to embrace more love, more celebration, letting go of the fear in the seen and the unseen world, and embracing your power. Welcome to my show, Fearless Spirit. Hi, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Tara, and I am your host and your guide. Today, I just want to celebrate that this is my first episode. I have been recording, I'll be honest, and deleting and recording and deleting and recording and deleting. And then I just realized it's going to get this over with, right? Because I am never going to be perfect, and that is okay. So, hey, welcome everyone. This podcast is directly created and formed and was inspired by some of my own internal work I've been doing on myself, but also some of the things that I've been noticing out in the world. There's a lot of fear, judgment, even uncomfortableness around things that don't fit in with today's current society's definition of normal. Right. And so as I started noticing more and more of that, I realized that I was being invited to create a podcast where we could start to learn how to release the fear around the unseen world and embrace that as part of our everyday lives. And so that's what this is all about. This probably won't be a super long recording for my first one. I just want to introduce you to me and just share with you what this is all about. So, oh man, so much, right? So much to unpack. So that's why there's episodes. But in reality, I have been for 24 years, I have been working in the wellness industry. And it is the health and wellness industry, but it's been more for me a deeper inner work. I started as a massage therapist over 24 years ago and was a birth doula, helping bring beautiful little babies into the world. I also worked with a lot of people and a lot of bodies. One of the things that helped me to be so good at what I did is because I did actually have natural psychic and mediumship abilities. And I hid those for a long time. Bodies literally talked to me. And everyone asked, how are you so good at this? And the truth was that, yeah, I was good at it because it was a passion of mine. And it was a natural ability that I had to be able to massage and help people heal. But also they helped. Their bodies literally talked to me. They would tell me what was going on. I would hear full sentences sometimes about having a fight with the boyfriend or the girlfriend or the husband or the wife or the mom or the dad, and how that was holding pain in their right hip. I would hear the name of the actual muscle that was pulled and be able to find it just to double check and know exactly where I was going to work on them to help them feel better. These things started coming online after a few years of working with bodies, something that was so far out there that I didn't think anyone would accept that. I did have one friend. She's awesome. I lived in her yoga studio. My practice for many years was set up inside of her yoga studio. And I was also a yoga teacher within that practice. And so I basically lived in that building. And she was probably one of the few people that I was open about. And that was way back in, 2007. So that's when I finally started getting a little bit more open. In my own family, I was always what you would call the rainbow sheep because I wasn't quite the black sheep, but I never quite fit in. But everyone just always saw me as like this odd spectacle. And even now it's interesting because all that fear, it was for nothing. Because actually a lot of those family members today ask me questions and they kind of hint that if they wish they would have known, they would have, I guess, utilized my ability sooner. But it's all perfect. It's all perfect the way it worked out. So the reason why I wanted to start this podcast, the reason why I was downloaded and inspired to start this podcast is because as I'm teaching others now how to embrace their spiritual abilities, how to cultivate, develop, and create stronger spiritual abilities. And I do call it abilities because they're not gifts necessarily. We all have them. So I guess in a way they are all gifts, but everyone has the technology within inside of them to actually cultivate and learn how to use it. Some of us might be born naturally a little bit easier to access some of those abilities, but in the whole, we all can learn how to use them. And one of the little tricks that I've learned along the way I became a sex love relationship coach, really diving into embodiment work and deep internal healing that would allow them people to feel more in trust of their own bodies and their lives so they can have deep, healthy relationships with their partners and with their family and friends. One of the things I noticed in that is if you're not doing that work, you block yourself. If you're not able to deeply trust you on the inside, then you're not able to connect with that which is not seen. When you have those voices in your head, how do you trust that it's not just you going crazy? When you have these intuitive hits, how do you know it's not actually an activation or trigger from something someone said versus it truly being your intuition? How do you know when it's spirit speaking to you and helping you out versus you just thinking, that was weird, right? Those are so many of the things that I've heard, even compare itis. So a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, I don't have those abilities because it doesn't look like fill in the blank compared to what they saw with other people around them. And as I sit and talk with my clients and we do our healing work together, they discover they have been deeply connected all along. They just didn't know what it looked like because they were too busy looking outside of themselves for validation and even comparing to make sure that it looked like it's supposed to be. Because let's face it, in this world, we are nothing but comparing, right? In this 3D world we have, it's all about competition. And actually, it's not, but that's what we've been taught. As I dive deeper into my divine feminine, that looks like a powerful, strong, confident woman of my own. And I'll be honest, right from the very first episode, I'm turning 50 this year. So as I go into my next decade, into my crone phase, how do I actually embrace myself even more? Well, that's been happening more and more even for me. So what I do now for many people is I actually have an integrative session. I don't do packages. I don't believe that you have to do 12 times to be better. What I do is I work with people and I teach them deep self-responsibility. I give them resources that they may not have known existed or that they were looking for that I just so happen to have come across and I now have in my library. I offer them energy healing attunements that gets them back into balance. It actually increases your gifts. And then we do integration work. So I teach you how to either develop your skills, how to work through some fears or some belief systems that are no longer serving you, and then allow you to spread your wings and fly. I let my clients determine how often they need to come back, and I let them be the ones in charge of their health and well-being and their lives. Because at the end of the day, we are only in charge of our own lives, and we don't have control of anyone else's life. But we are here to learn how to love deeper, to have more compassion, and to even learn how to have patience for ourselves, acceptance for ourselves, love, trust, and also wholeness. To believe that we came here already whole. Any experience that we're having now, and this is going to be hard for some to hear, we orchestrated it and we did so that we could have the lessons. Just the other day, I was talking to a woman who has been going through a tough time. And she's not a client. She's just someone I happened to meet at a gathering. And she said, oh my gosh, I need to be cleansed because I just know there's all these things happening. I said, you can cleanse yourself. And she was getting in a lot of like little accidents. She hurt her foot, hurt her leg, hurt her knee, did whatever, just all these little things happening. And her response to me was, all I want is to just live in peace. And I just started giggling in the most respectful way. And I said, you do know when you ask like that, that all you're going to be given is situations that encourage you to find your peace. So if that's all you're asking for is, I want peace, really what you're asking is, hey, universe, creator, God, Yahweh, whatever your name is for your higher power, can you give me a bunch of situations that are chaotic? Can you give me a bunch of situations that could be really tough so that I can learn how to build my resilience within that chaos and find my peace? So I invite her to shift that request instead to say, from this moment on, any lessons, learnings, anything and everything that is here for my soul's growth and my expansion, let it be pleasurable and joyful. And you can see the wheels turning and the light turn on and go, oh my gosh. And it could see that it changed the way she was even looking at the world. And I've learned these from not only all my own journeys internal, but I'm not afraid to keep just gathering information. I am not the all knowing. I literally listen to all the different channelers and other coaches, and I take those little golden nuggets and I apply them to my life. And I collect those along with all the other things that I've done. I've spent years and years in school and in training. And I'm now at this phase where my guides are telling me, like, hey, you don't need to do that anymore. You can actually just connect with us. But still, for fun, I do, knowing I don't need it. But sometimes there are things that come in and I hear just a phrase or a term or a thought, and I think, oh, yes. That is how I can explain it to others. That is it. That is the words I've been struggling to find. And so this podcast is about that. I will probably have different guest speakers from here and there, friends of mine, people I know who've gone through some huge transformative journeys and have come out the other side or still going through it, but they've learned how to go through it with grace and they've learned how to go through it with more joy. Something I've always said to others and my clients, especially because I personally have learned this too. There's two ways to go through your experience, the easy way and the hard way. The easy way is you already know you're going to have to go through it anyway, because quite frankly, we orchestrated that for ourselves, for our own soul growth. So you lean into it, find the pleasure in it, find the joy in it, and do it anyway. Or fight it, resist it, and get dragged through it. The easy way or the hard way. So as I have grown and I have learned and expanded and embraced who I am, my desire for everyone on this podcast as you listen, that you also get the same inspiration, that you also learn that you are the most powerful thing in the room. So thank you for listening to my introduction. I hope that I can bring you great value. Maybe some things that say will land. Anything else that doesn't resonate with you, just leave it behind. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm only here to share with you and to hope that when you hear certain things, you can start to, piece by piece, baby step by baby step, let go of that fear that's been holding you back. And instead, embrace celebration, embrace love, embrace compassion for yourself, and find pleasure in it. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to releasing another episode soon. Have a wonderful day. And hey, by the way, today it is June 6th, 2024. It is a new moon. I did not even plan this, but hey, that's all about bringing in the things that you really want. So out of curiosity and ending the show in this way, what is it that you really want to bring into your life? What is it that you would like to shift today so that you can have more pleasure, more joy, and a lot more celebration? Talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.